I want to welcome everybody to A Course in Miracles here on Facebook Live and in the room right now. Everybody seems to be celebrating Mother's Day, which is great. I've been called a mother a few times myself. So somebody needs to be celebrating me right now, you know. Yeah. So I want to tell you that we're going to be on a section in the Course in Miracles. It's called The Laws of Healing. And we're going to give everybody a minute to come in and be online. We're going to be in the Laws of Healing on page 553 in the text. For those who have one, I got a few spare loaner copies over here on the table in case you want to follow along with me. And I'm glad to see those of you who are online with me. It's always good to have my mighty companions with me. Get you up so I can monitor you while I'm talking and see what you're saying, because I can feel your energy. Now, if you never, the one thing that I always say at the very beginning, from this to the point that I know some people might be tired of hearing it, is that with the Course in Miracles, you don't have to believe it, you don't have to accept it, you don't have to welcome it. Some of it's going to be hard to believe. Some of it's going to be startling. It says that right there in the Course, that it's really going to ultimately be the use of the ideas that's going to give them the ideas meaning to you and show you that they're true. So I'm going to say straight up, the Course in Miracles is a really radical teaching. I think if people don't, if a person is listening to the Course in Miracles and they're expecting to hear anything like what the world teaches, then it becomes a really challenging thing for them to study and for them to do. So the most important thing is to realize that you don't have to believe it, you don't have to accept it, you don't have to welcome it. Some of it's going to be hard to believe, some of it's going to be startling. And another thing that the Course in Miracles says is that you're not being asked to judge and analyze it to depth. So I don't analyze the Course in Miracles. I don't use my opportunities to share the Course to debate or to analyze. The goal of the Course, it says, if you really want to master it, which is to get rid of all the blocks to the awareness of love, that the whole purpose of the Course in Miracles is to get rid of every block that we have to the awareness of love that's in us already. So it's not about putting it in us, it's about getting rid of everything that keeps us from knowing it's already there. And so the Course in Miracles is basically a non-dualistic thought system. You're really trying to replace one thought system, which is the way we learn from the world, which tells us that we're all separate from each other and separate from God. And then replace that with a thought system that's based on unity, oneness, and taking responsibility for your experience. So the Course basically divides the world up into two categories. People who are taking responsibility for their experience and those who see themselves as a victim of everything that's happening around them. And so what it wants us to do is trying to teach us how to let go of the blocks to the happiness, to the peace, to the joy that's already in us. So it's only talking about love or fear. So even though it uses Christian terminology, the Course in Miracles is teaching universal spiritual concepts and themes. So it's not the form that is written in that's so important as the content that it has. And so the section that I'm going to cover as much as I can today is called The Laws of Healing. It's on page 553, The Laws of Healing in the text. The Laws of Healing is a really powerful Course in Miracles section, because what it does is it really is an overview of all the principles that the Course in Miracles is teaching, almost like in a little review form. So that's what I like about this particular section. So don't think that I'm saying you have to believe it, that you have to agree with it, that you have to necessarily understand it. But I'm trusting that it's no accident that we are here today, so we need to hear whatever is being said, and it might be something that we hear that will be helpful. So the Course is saying the way that you change your mind, the way that you get a new thought system is through remembering and repetition. Because the reason why we think the way we do now is because it's been constantly repeated over and over again. That's what we heard over and over again to the point that we believed it. So the Course says the part of us that doesn't know the truth, the false self that calls the ego, it says that part of us wants us to stop and think that our understanding of something is a powerful contribution to the truth. So there's a part of us that believes if I understand something, that makes it true. And if I don't understand it, then it couldn't be true, which is really a very limited perception if you really think about it. It's really like ridiculously arrogant to think that something is not true because I don't understand it or I don't believe it. So on page 553, I go through the paragraph, and then we ask ourselves, okay, what is the point that it's trying to make? What is it that it's trying to say to us? And so it says the laws of healing. So before I hit that, I'd like for you to just take a breath a minute. Just take a minute. Just take a minute. This is a course in miracles. There are chairs right in that room there. This is a course in miracles. As such, the laws of healing must be understood before the purpose of the course can be accomplished. The laws of healing must be understood before the purpose of the course can be accomplished. So let us review the principles that we have covered and arrange the principles we have studied in a way that summarizes all that must occur for healing to be possible. For when healing once is possible, healing must occur. So I use music, I use rhythm, I use everything to try to hear this stuff. All right? So I could say right now, what did the first paragraph just say? See, that's what I'm talking about. So that's why repetition and repeating it is what I do in the course instead of analyzing it. Because most of the time, the part of us that's programmed by the world doesn't even hear what the course is saying. It's the weirdest thing about teaching this for almost 40 years. So first of all, it says, this is a course in miracles. Miracles are correct perceptions. So when the Course in Miracles talks about miracles, it's talking about correct perceptions. It says if we have a correct perception, it's a miracle. So that's why it's called a Course in Miracles. And then it said that we got to understand the laws of healing before the course can be accomplished. In the course, and I'm giving you, since I've studied it so long, let me give you shortcuts. He says healing means the undoing of fear. So when the course is talking about healing, it's not talking about physical healing the way we think of it when we hear that word. It's talking about a corrected perception. The Course in Miracles is working at the causative level. It's not working at the effect level. So the Course in Miracles is working at the level of cause, which is the mind, and the perceptual level. It's not focused in on the results of the errors that we made in not seeing things correctly. So the average person would say, well, how do I deal with my boss that I'm always upset about? The Course would say, forget your boss. Why you have a state of mind that gets upset about your boss? So the Course is always going to come at the causative level instead of the effect level. Oh, tell me how to heal my cancer. The Course in Miracles would say, I'm going to teach you how to see your cancer. I'm going to teach you how to see it, what would be the cause of it. So the Course is not working at an effect level, which is the level that most people want you to work with them. Okay, there's some chairs right in there. So then I always do it in the question and answer format, like let us review the principles that we've covered and arrange them in a way that summarizes everything that must happen for healing to be possible. So I've got to do everything I need to do for healing to be possible, because when I do what I need to do for the healing to be possible, he says the healing must happen. You know, if I'm planting a crop, if I till the soil and do everything that needs to be done, set up the conditions for the plant to grow, then the plant grows. So the Course in Miracles teaches us the conditions of thinking that we need to have the healing occur. So all sickness comes from separation. The next paragraph says, and let me explain sickness. When the Course says sickness, it's talking about not right-mindedness. The Course says sickness is not seeing things correctly. It's a lack of peace. Remember, the Course is talking from a causative level, a mental level. So the Course says that any form of sickness, which is a form of fear, which is a form of anger, which is a form of guilt, comes from separation. Thinking I'm separate from my source, God, thinking I'm separate from you, and thinking I'm separate from all that is. So sickness comes from separation. Unhappiness comes from separation. And it says when the separation is denied, the sickness, the unhappiness, the problem you think you have goes. So when I counsel with people and they tell me what it is that they think they're upset about or what they think the problem is, the first thing I remember from the Course is that they just told me what the problem isn't. Okay, so the first thing I get is, everything you just told me, that must not be the problem. Because it says, let me recognize the problem so the problem can be solved. So if I recognize the problem is solved. So if you think you still have the problem, you haven't recognized it. The light isn't on in my bedroom. I look over and see that it's unplugged. I recognize the problem. What is it? It's unplugged. So that also simultaneously solves the problem. What do I need to do? Plug it in. So the minute when you truly recognize the problem, you also truly see the answer. And if you have a situation that you've been dealing with since you were a child that you call your pattern, then you can be sure that whatever you think the problem is isn't the problem. Okay, what you think your money, I tell people, money problems aren't solved by money. They're solved by the correct perception of it. Okay, because remember, with the Course in Miracles, what is it doing? It's trying to give us a way of looking at everything that's happening to us so that we won't lose our peace. And it teaches that once you have peace of mind, you can hear the voice of the Holy Spirit, which is your own inner guidance. So I can't hear my guidance from the higher power within me if I'm full of anger, guilt, grievances, and conflict. So the Course is about getting rid of the anger, the guilt, and the grievances so you can finally hear the voice of your higher self telling you exactly what to do and how to see every situation. The other thing that the Course says, because it's a spiritual teaching and not a self-help teaching. Okay, it's self-help teachings are great, but that's not what the Course in Miracles is. The Course in Miracles is a spiritual teaching. It's trying to get us in touch with one thing. Nothing real can be threatened. If it's real, it can be threatened. Love is the only thing that's real and everything else ain't. It's very simple, but what's beautiful about it is it has the ability to be as complicated as you need it to be for you to think you're learning. Okay, so if you're a person that needs complications to feel like you're making progress, then you ought to be just orgasming right now. Because if you want it to be that way, you can look at the Course and go, oh my God, I can't understand this. How many of you, when you first picked up the Course, you read a paragraph and you said to yourself, it looked like English, but I didn't understand anything that I just read, right? Or you just grooving on it, and then all of a sudden you reading it and you're blown away, and then you close the book and 5 minutes later you can't remember what you just read. If somebody was to say to you, say back to me what you just read, you go, I don't even know what I just read. People do that with my class. They want to recommend my class to people, and the people say, what did he say? What is it about? They say, well, you just need to come. They don't even try to, they don't even say what I said, right? So the Course says all sickness comes from separation. When the separation is denied, it says when it's denied, it goes. For it is gone as soon as the idea that brought the separation has been healed. And what does that mean? I've got to replace an insane idea. It says that idea has been replaced by sanity. So the Course in Miracles says we have two ways of thinking. One way is sane and one way is insane. That we're sane, but we've learned insane things. And since we've learned insane things, we have insane behavior. How do you know it's insane behavior? It says because it's based on separation, fear, anger, and guilt. So we're in a world that it looks like we're separate. We're also in a world that it looks like there's fear, anger, guilt, and attack, broken into by periods in which they seem to be gone, right? And so the Course in Miracles is saying to us that is coming from the idea that we're separate, the idea that we're not one, the idea that my best interests should come before your interests, that we're not seeing each other as one. So the Course says sickness and sin, which it defines as insanity, one of the definitions of it, is you believing, the Course says a sin is believing that you could possibly do something that the Creator could not heal, create, fix, love. It says a sin is just an idea that you could be so screwed up that nothing could help you, that you were born flawed, that you were born separate, and that's the way you are. So let's think about this. We are beings that create through our thoughts, feelings, emotions, and beliefs. That's how we see reality. You're a baby and someone says, you're sinful, you were born in sin. So you're having the idea planted in your mind at a very young age that you are somehow flawed. You're somehow not whole. You're somehow not innocent. I will see my entire life through that lens. And I will start focusing on everything that validates that I am not whole. I am not loving. And then I wonder why I'm having that kind of experience. It's because that's the idea I have of myself. And then most of the time you're told that people are taught that they're sinful based on things that have no real lasting value. So the Course in Miracles is saying, if you were created by love, how can you really be anything other than that? Because you have to have the same characteristics as your Creator. So if my Creator is love, if my Creator is powerful, then I have power too. But if I've been taught that that's not true, whatever I believe, that's what I'm going to perceive. Perception witnesses to our beliefs. And then people go, well, how can that be true? Well, that's because perception is learned. The Course says perception is learning. Let me give you an example, a real obvious example. You learn to see this as a mic, so you call it that. You learn to see me as a man, so you call it that. You learn to see this as a book, so you call it that. So what you're really only perceiving is what you learn and how you learn to see things. You just learned, the Course says we've taken the oneness and broken it up into names. The name book, the name glasses, the name microphone. It's really just one thing. It's really just one whatever it is. So names actually promote the idea that we're separate. And if I want to be separate, then I have to be separate in something. Bingo, body. Now I'm separate in something, right? So the Course in Miracles says, I love this line here. It says, sickness and sin are seen as consequence and cause. Okay, I'm guilty, I'm sinful, now I have a life that reflects that. Then it says, in a relationship kept hidden from awareness. Most people don't know that their unhappiness is coming from seeing themselves as not whole, guilty, and not lovable. And then the Course says, so they may be carefully preserved from reasons like. Most people don't apply reason to the crazy stuff we've learned. They just accept what they've been taught. As a matter of fact, I was told that I shouldn't question what I was being taught, especially around the Bible, growing up Southern Baptist where I grew up, where, hell is just a regular hangout. I don't know about y'all, but they don't kid around in the South when it comes to hell. Down here, I grew up in the South. They don't play around with that. That's some serious stuff. And the Course says hell is fear. And it says something else that can sound a little depressive, but it's really funny when you wake up to what it's saying, which is, basically we're already in hell and don't realize it. It's like the Course says, anytime you could be in a place that you can lose what you love, that anything could happen to you at any time, that you feel frail and vulnerable, that's hell. And because there are great movies like Avengers Endgame, it makes us want to stay there. Or whatever your thing is, right? Whatever, I like to ski though, so I'll hang out in hell. I've been dying to see Hawaii, But the truth is, people in Hawaii, hundreds of them lost their homes because of a volcano erupted a year ago. So what the Course is trying to say is, take the rose-colored glasses and recognize that your Creator would never put you in a place that you could be hurt and that you could even absolutely lose what you love. So you've lost sight of who you really are, and you are a spiritual being having a human experience. That's what you really are. You're a spirit, expressing through a body. And as long as you identify with something that's this fragile, he says you can't help but be afraid, because you're going to always be worried about what's going to happen to this, or what's going to happen to this with somebody you care about. Okay? So it says guilt asks for punishment. I want you to hear what it's saying. Guilt asks for punishment. What do people love to do? They love to say, I feel guilty. Mm-hmm. You hear that because nice people think that proves that they're nice. So nice people really lay on, I'm guilty. I feel guilty. I feel so guilty. And the Course is saying, well, guilt is a request for punishment. Mm-hmm. So when you said to the universe, I feel guilty, it also goes with that, is I think I've done something I might need to be punished for. And so the Course says, and its request is granted. So then you'll have something happen that makes you feel like crap. Whether it be something happen to you at any level, people don't realize I'm saying, I feel guilty, punish me, universe. I feel guilty, punish me, universe. Oh, my relationship just went south. Oh, I felt, something's going on with my body. Oh, my finances. Oh, I got laid off from my job. I feel guilty, punish me. Oh, that new person I met last night. You know, sometimes that's the full-time punisher. Can be the person you form a special relationship with. That can be a person you hire to keep you from feeling happy every day. Or that can be a person that you have hired to remind you of how lovable and how loving you are and how much you deserve love. Yeah. But those are the only things happening in any relationship. We're either using a relationship to wake up to peace and love and joy, or we're using a relationship as a form of punishment and attack on ourselves. And we can tell how we're using it by how we feel. So the Course it seems like it's complicated, but it's really not. It's saying the same thing so many different ways that it's hoping one way it says that you actually hear it. That's why I tell people, if you're studying it, don't try to stay on a section till you understand that you might die first. It would be better to keep on going until you get to a sentence that does make sense to you, and you'll find that it will actually help you get the stuff that you thought you didn't get. So you don't have to ever analyze any particular sentence, because it's going to say the same thing another way that you might be able to hear it. So don't ever, in my humble suggestion from dealing with this for so long and teaching it full time for 3 decades, is that don't stay on something until you think you understand it. Because what you're going to find out later was you totally understood what it said, you just didn't agree with it. It never was that you didn't understand it. It was that you didn't want to accept what you heard, the way you heard it. Like if the book says, you are not a body. And the person goes, I don't understand that. No, you do understand what that means. That means what the body is not what you are. Well, I don't understand that. You don't want to accept that. So you say you don't know, but you do understand. If I say to you, you are not this MP3 player. Everybody go, okay, yeah. So you do understand the concept of this is not. Right? So, but then if I said you are not a body, you go, I don't understand it. No, I don't accept that. So to understand something means to accept it. So understanding the Course means I'm accepting the Course. That's what it really means. So let me, I want to make sure I can see the people who are online. Okay. It's always, oh my God. It still trips me out when I see my body. It's not me, but I'm still like, sometimes when I get out the shower and I walk by the mirror, I go, who are you? Because I don't look nothing like I did, the past. Who's this guy? It's me.
Hey, Raj. And so what I heard is to understand is to accept, to not understand is to not accept.
Yeah, basically from a Course perspective, especially if it's something you understand what it's saying.
Right.
But I just don't want to accept it. So the Course is saying the first thing we should do is hear what it's saying before we start judging it. Many times people never let themselves hear the Course before they start judging what it's saying. Or I'll talk to people and there'll be a big change in their life, and I say, well, are you doing a workbook lesson? No. Are you reading? It's too hard. Well, wait a minute now. How is the Course going to help you if you never study it? Everything takes attention and study if it's going to make a difference. Because I'm here to support you through the process. I'm not here to substitute for the process. And then we grew up in the McDonald's generation, so now we're completely spoiled about having things instantaneously. So we think enlightenment and spiritual growth is going to be instant. So we go to a class, our life doesn't change, then we drop that class and we go to another one. We go 2 times and our life didn't change. Then we drop that one, then we go to another one. So stop being a professional seeker, right? So the Course then says the child of God perceive what he would see, because perception is a wish fulfilled. What does that mean? Whatever I'm seeing is a fulfillment of my wish. That's what it means. I'm seeing you as a fulfillment of my wish. Whatever I see is a fulfillment of a wish. If I wish to see you as loving, I'll see you that way. If I don't wish to see you as loving, I don't. See, that's too simple. Perception is a fulfillment of a wish. People can walk in and decide they don't like me, and then anything that I say, they use that to reinforce the fact that they don't like me. So if a person walks in and says, he has a good vibe, then almost anything I say, then they'll use to reinforce the idea that I'm a cool person. So we make the decision first, and then we back it up with our perceptions. That's the way it really works. I decide I don't like you, then I justify it. Or I decide I like you, and I keep giving you other chances. With anybody in mind, they can reach on that blind right on that side. The sun is reflecting right off that car across it's on the right side. If you could just close it a little bit. Yeah, that one. If you can get through there and turn it a little bit, that'll help me. Oh, thank you. All right. It was just having too much light.
It's blinding you.
But it's funny because the Course says that when you first get exposed to light, it can look like the dimness was better. So when you exposed, so sometimes you can come at people with so much love, they go, I need somebody that don't like me as much as you.
You'll find them.
You'll find them. If you will definitely, don't worry, they'll be there. They'll be there. They'll be there. Let me see here. Okay, the mighty companions. Okay, all right. Then it says perception change. It says perception changes. Now, if you're reading that, then and it says perception changes, and you see a comma. Whenever you see the comma, behind the comma is usually the definition of what it just said. I'll give y'all some reading tips. In other words, it says perception changes. What does that mean? Perception was made to take the place of changeless knowledge. Knowledge doesn't change. And perception, which does change, was made to take the place of what doesn't change. Real love doesn't change. Reality doesn't change. The laws of God don't change. So what's real, you can always depend on it. It's consistent. It expands, but it doesn't change. What do you mean? Isn't that changing? No, because it was made to expand. So if it was made to expand, it hasn't changed. That's what it was made to do. So love extends and expands, but it doesn't change. At no point is it still not love. It's just still growing. So if it's real, it doesn't change. So the Course says a love that you think changed wasn't love. If you really love somebody, just because you break up, you won't stop loving them. You might not be in the same form of relationship with them that you were before, but the love would still be there. So how people can say they love somebody to the max, and then now they can't stand the thought of them, it just means it's some grievances that need to be released there. Yeah. And really, I'm mad at you because you didn't act out my script anyway. And 80% of the time, that's what all anger is. Somebody didn't act out my script. They're not acting the way I want them to act. They're not being the way I want them to be. That's their crime. When you really think about it, that's so ridiculous. I'm not living up to your expectations, so now I'm a bad person, as if I was born to serve you.
You weren't.
What'd you say?
Good question.
Yeah. And that's what the Course says, that we are all angry all the time because we are trying to make everything serve us. And then it doesn't. I've come up with what my ideal mate should be like and what they're supposed to do for me, and they're not doing it, and so now I am angry. So what I'm really angry about is they're not serving me. And that's why I'm mad. So I don't mind. I'm not here to make you happy, but it's perfectly okay for you to enjoy me. Think about that for a minute. I was reading that the other day. It was like it says, it's okay to, I'm glad to be here for your enjoyment. But I'm not here to make you happy. Two different things. If you can enjoy me and I can still be my authentic self, have at it. If your enjoyment of me is you saying if I'm different, you'll be happy, then I don't mind if you move on, because you're going to be too much work. You're going to be entirely too much work. I know too many people that say to me, no lie, the way you are is exactly what I need. I just want you to be more who you are. They didn't say, Earl, you needed to change. They said, Earl, the way you are is perfect in terms of what I think I need right now. And that's the people you want to hang out with. Not the one that's always telling you what you have to do differently for them to be happy. Like the Course says here, truth is unchanged. What is that? You can read the Course like this. Truth is unchanged. What does that mean? That means truth can't be perceived, but only known. You can know it. The ultimate truth you can know, but you won't necessarily see it because perception changes and truth doesn't. So, or you could say, fear changes, but love doesn't. Thank goodness. Then it says, what is perceived takes many forms. What is perceived takes many forms. And you could also say, what is perceived takes many bodies. But what did it say? None has meaning. What you mean my body don't have meaning? I can tell you 2 or 3 people that my body had meaning to just last night. And when I was at the club, it was a few people, my body had a lot of meaning. As a matter of fact, I'm counting on my body. Well, you think I'm in front of this mirror, trying to get ready. I'm trying to get my bait ready to catch another fish tonight. What you talking about? The Course in Miracles literally says that your body, you use your body as bait, you know. And, you know, sometimes your bait ain't what it used to be, you know. My bait ain't exactly what it used to be. I need people that love me for my mind. Can y'all feel me? Can y'all feel me? Oh, God. Oh, it's a trip. If you want to see how vain you are, how much you're vanity, just hang out with somebody younger than you, and you'll read really quick how you feel, how you feel about your body. You know. So now that I'm beginning to realize that's not what I am, and everything in my experience is coming from my consciousness, it's more important to me now to have an innocent, loving mind. And people who love you, here's the catch about the good thing about love. People who love you, you are beautiful. No matter what your body looks like. If somebody really loves you, they just think you're beautiful. You know, sometimes people tell me I'm beautiful, and I go, what you talking about? Because my ego tries to make me see every pimple, every flaw, everything about my body that it possibly can. I know y'all can relate to what I'm saying. Photography is my hobby, and I love to take pictures. And one thing I don't enjoy is showing women pictures. It takes all the fun out of the photography. It really does. It's like I can be looking at them, wow, that's a good, whoa, that picture right there. And I show it to the woman that's on the picture. Oh, that's a pimple right behind my earlobe. You know, it's like they tend to zero right in on every flaw that they can see in the picture. I'm looking at beauty, they're looking at flaws. So again, what are you looking for? That's what you see. And then the ones who love themselves go, I'm kind of fine, ain't I? Yeah. And I say, okay, you got the right perception of yourself. Yeah. Right? So what is my job with the person that's not seeing themselves that way? To see them that way. Yeah. That's my function. Mm-hmm. Right? And then it says, brought to truth. What brought to truth? Whatever the form. And the reason why it says no form has meaning, let me go to that. In other words, nothing has meaning in and of itself. It only has meaning when I give meaning to it. So that's what it means when it says none have meaning. I only mean as much to you as the meaning you give me. If you don't give me any meaning, I don't have any meaning. You may love your kid to death and think it's the coolest kid, and you think about it all the time, if somebody else see your kid coming, they want to run. You know what I'm saying? They might not give your kid the same meaning you do. That's why you can hear it. Just, I was just thinking about that, when I dealt with the situation just recently that was what the world would call a very tragic accident and what happened to the people involved. And I was thinking about how it impacted me because I knew them when they made the transition in the car wreck, right? But to other people, it was just another person that was looking, another car wreck in the paper. Mm-hmm. And then they do what I do. You go, oh, then you go to what's on in the movie, right? So it had no meaning to them. So that meant that the car accident was a neutral event. It was really a neutral event, and everybody looking at it gives it the meaning that it has. And that's true about everything. I don't mean, my specialness will make me think I mean more to people than I actually do. And sometimes that's when I used to hurt my feelings, because they say I expected somebody to call me on my birthday, right? So I thought I was special. And that's what the Course teaches, that it's specialness that causes our pain. If you had no need to be special, you couldn't be hurt by anybody, by their lack of attention or their attention, right? So I pick out who I'm going to be meaning to, and then I give them meaning based on how much they're going to serve me. But I don't call it that. I just call it my desire, how I want to be treated, right? And so it says, brought to the truth, the senselessness is quite apparent. Keep this thing apart from the truth, and it seems to have meaning and be real. So if I keep what I'm going through away from the truth, it's going to seem like it has meaning and it is real. If I bring it to the truth, I realize that my pain isn't coming from the form, from the appearance, from the thing. My pain is coming from the meaning that I'm giving to it. So that's me bringing my pain to the truth. I'm getting in touch with the cause of the pain. Not keep focusing on the headache. I need to focus on the remedy. And if I have a headache and I go to the medicine cabinet and I see the aspirin or whatever as an example, and I just stare at the aspirin, the headache won't go away. If I stare at the book and never do anything it says, my sense of separation, sickness, and fear doesn't go away. So it's never enough to look at the remedy. I got to do what? I got to take it, right? And it is possible to be helped. As a matter of fact, you can be healed, you can be helped. So before I go to the next paragraph, this is a powerful section. Are there any comments or questions about what I've said?
So 50 years ago, I got in this car wreck and got the hole in my neck.
Okay.
Right? So I've identified with the body a lot since then, and with sickness and stuff since then. So when you said at the very beginning today, you gave a different interpretation of what the Course says sickness is, which was not associated with the body. And at first I was just, and then I forgot what you said. You know, so I don't want to, what did you say
that sickness is any form of lack of peace and any form of not right-mindedness. And then it says, I'm just giving you different definitions. It says sickness is anger taken out on the body. So when people don't realize, when they're mad at somebody, they're just attacking their own body. The other person doesn't even feel your anger. Think about that. So there's a workbook lesson in the Course in Miracles where it says you're supposed to say how you feel. Don't be in denial. Don't be in denial. So he says, say how you feel, exactly how you feel it, whether it's anger, guilt, whatever. And then say to yourself, that thought is an attack upon myself. You're supposed to go at the end of it, go, that thought is an attack upon myself. Now, what do you mean that thought's an attack upon myself? I'm the one that's feeling the upset. I'm the one that's feeling the resentment. I'm the one that's feeling the anger. So I'm the one that's suffering from my anger. And that's why it says anger is never justified. Not because you can't come up with the thing that you feel like you're justified about feeling anger about. It's not justified because of what it does to you. See the difference? So it's not saying deny your feelings. It's just saying feel your feelings. Your feelings are calls for love. Your feelings are called for innocence. Your feelings are called for God if they're fear, guilt, and anger. But if you keep in mind, even as you feel your feeling, that it's you feeling it, then you'll start to choose peace just because of how you feel about yourself and how you don't want to feel that. You follow? You following me? So people, what do you mean I shouldn't be angry? I didn't say, hey, you're free. You can choose anger as much as you want. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm just saying that it's like taking poison and then expecting you to die. So there's no justification for me taking poison. You see what I'm saying? So I can want to feel like I need to take poison because you so upset me, right? But the truth is, anger is really not justified in the sense of you're the one that's feeling that attack. Right? I can choose not to be in relationship with you for my own best interests. And I don't have to attack myself to make that choice. I can decide that I'm going to do something different. I don't have to attack myself. So the Course is all about love. Okay. So anybody, yeah.
I was just gonna say, kind of dating back, like what this section is talking to me about is just the fact that there's pleasant forms of fear. And so even though I might be like in this place where I'm having like a pleasant experience of separateness with all of you guys.
We having a pleasant experience of separateness.
Yeah, I'm having a very pleasant experience of separateness with all
It's a
of you.
very nice hill.
But I could also use everything you're saying or use this environment to not have a pleasant experience. But that even if I'm having a quote unquote pleasant experience, it could change. It could change at any point. It could change based on someone leaving. It could change based on someone coming. It could change based on what you're saying. And so that means it's not knowledge.
That's right.
And so if it's not knowledge, then that means it can change all of the time. And I'm still just in a form of hell, whether it feels pleasant or not, because the actual knowledge of having even like what would be considered like one, instead of all of us having separate bodies, if we were just having one experience, that would actually be a completely different level of bliss that I can't tap into when I feel separate.
Thank you. That's exactly right. That's why the Course defines it as, he says, if you're in a dream, something that's not ultimate reality, you can always tell because it can go from total satisfaction to total terror in the instant. The person there was one person that is a person I've loved and been close to for many, many years. And she was the only one that survived the car wreck. There was 6 of them in the car. 5 of them made their transition, including her mother, which is intense since it's just Mother's Day a week later. The Course says that's the characteristic of something that is not ultimate love. Is that 1 minute she said they would jam into earth, wind, and fire, and then the next thing they know, she knew, bam, she was looking at all those people, right? So that's what the Course says. Love yourself enough to want to go beyond a reality that you have this kind of fear, but it doesn't mean you have to die to get there. That's the illusion, is that when you die, you're going to go to heaven. And the Course in Miracles is saying, actually, heaven, love, true love, which is heaven, is available to you. Anything that's real is always available. Anything that's real that exists is existing now. So you don't have to wait for what exists. You know, if it exists, you can have it now. What's keeping me from having it now? Because I am having perceptions that are not based on right-mindedness and truth. You know, and so what is helping this person go through this is that they're a long-time Course in Miracles student. I got in the Course in Miracles 1 week. I turned her on to the next week, and it's the focus on them not being their bodies. See, it's not that I'm going to not feel my grief. I'm going to tell myself the truth and not seeing them as bodies, but eternal beings who dropped their bodies. That feels more peaceful than thinking they were bodies that were destroyed and no longer exist. And that's how you can tell the truth from something that's not true. Something that's true, that's based on love, is going to always uplift you and make you feel more peace, even if in a very challenging situation. If it's the ego, if it's not truth, you're just going to feel more depressed. So if I think of them as not existing anymore, that makes me feel depressed. And I know that's not the truth. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. Even though, well, prove it. Well, you can't prove that they're gone. You can't prove they don't exist. So I got a choice. I can look at it like they don't exist, and they were just bodies, or I can look at it like they're eternal spiritual beings who are now in another level of expression. Which one of those makes me feel more peace? Obviously, the one that they're eternal beings who dropped their body. But that's the truth. Or that's the truth I'm going to go with. And if it's not the truth, it sure makes me feel better, so that justifies it. So if none of the things that I'm saying are true, what have you got to lose? Oh, you're going to walk out the room and feel like I took advantage of you because I told you you deserve love?
How dare you?
Yeah, how dare that was a bunch of crap. This dude told me I deserved love. That must not be the truth. You know, if that wasn't true, that's some cool stuff to hear. I'm talking some cool stuff no matter what. Think about it. Yeah. You hit your hand up?
Yeah, no, when you're talking about relationships and what's true is always true and love is always love, I just went through a separation and I'm still treating this person with love and respect. And she's like, why are you being nice to me? I'm like, I love you.
That's why you're still being nice, right?
Right. I'm like, I love you, and I always will. Like, you can't. And she's going into the fear, and you know, all her story.
Yeah.
And him and I were literally talking about this on the way here. So we're just losing it because it's hilarious because that's exactly it. Like, I haven't stopped loving her, even though like we're no longer romantic.
Yes.
My love for her is eternal.
That's right.
And she can't see that.
So what happened was a change of form.
Right.
Like, that's what I tell people. I want to be in relationship with you in whatever form we can do it most peacefully.
Right.
If there's non-physical, if there's friends, instead of romantic. I want to find where you and I can be with each other in total peace.
Right.
Most people, the form is the relationship. So if I'm not your boyfriend, we don't have a relationship.
Right.
Well, see, that's made the form the relationship.
When
So
she
it's not
she
real.
projected a lot of dreams onto me.
Right.
And when they started not happening or me pulling away from them, that's when the fear, and she kind of like,
Right, because it's, the whole purpose of a special relationship is to hide from me how I feel about myself. See, if I'm insecure and I don't really love myself, I'm looking for someone to give me that love that I'm not giving myself to prove to me that I really am valuable. If I get with you and I'm still afraid and I don't feel valued, now you, in a sense, you betrayed me. You disillusioned me. You were supposed to help me forget how much I didn't like myself. And now I'm remembering it with you too. So now I really want to get rid of you. So as long as a person believes their happiness comes from anything outside of themselves, they'll never be happy. And I have yet to see anybody in all these years that I've said, happiness comes from within. They go, yes. I almost ask anybody, they'll say yes, and then 5 minutes later they'll be telling you what they're upset about what somebody didn't do. And you just got through saying your happiness comes from within. Now you're talking about how mad you are. So it's really not what they really believe. Same thing when most people say they believe in God. You ask the average person, they will say, I believe in God and I'm worried about my rent. If I really believe that I'm sustained by spirit, the universe, and truth in God, what am I worried about? So we don't see how, the Course calls it a split mind. We don't see how it's like it's two of us. And whichever one comes forward at the moment is the one we believe. But so when I'm talking to somebody, I always go, I just assume they got a crazy self there. Right? I just go ahead and just build that into my awareness. I don't care how nice they're acting right now, there's the evil twin. And all I have to do is do something that's not in their script, and I'll see it really, really quickly.
this is our exact conversation earlier.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, if I feel guilty, and if I feel any guilt, and you're giving me love, that's going to upset me. So the fact that you're being loving and that's upsetting her is she still feels, in my perception, there's still some guilt there and anger, you know. And so she's expecting you to be toward her the way she is toward you. So that's, you know what I'm saying? I'm mad at you, so you're supposed to be mad at me.
Yeah.
You know, you see something in me you love. I see something in you I fear. So you're also being deceptive because you acting like you nice. You're acting like you love me. You know, you just acting nice, so you know, but you're not really nice. You see what I'm saying? So
If you love
know.
me, you change. Right?
Yeah,
That's
because
the
if you're right,
general
because
script of the world,
because
yeah.
if you really love me, what you would be saying is how you're gonna do everything that I wanted you to do. You're not gonna be saying I love you, but I'm staying the same. That makes you selfish because everybody knows in the world.
That's the reason she's
Well,
not-
in the world, the false idea of love is sacrifice.
Right.
So if you love me, you sacrifice your happiness for me.
Yeah.
You do what you don't do what you want to do. You do what I want you to do.
No,
Channel
that's
this
what we
conversation,
do
Raj.
for you too.
And then I sacrifice for you too, if you sacrifice. And the Course says sacrifice isn't love, it's an attack.
Yep.
You know,
Wow.
and all you build is resentment.
Say that again. Sacrifice is an attack.
He says, the Course, attack, I told people, it's radical. Sacrifice is an attack. You know, because I'm looking for you to do the same thing, whether you want to or not. You know, the book is a trip. It's a trip. It's a trip book. Demola.
Well, what struck me is in the second paragraph where it says, all sickness comes from separation. See, for me, before I never used to see all types of sickness as the same, because I would see, for instance, maybe depression or maybe my lack of finance or anything. I used to see them differently because they would seemingly affect me differently. But now I'm seeing it as all sickness comes from one idea, which is the separation. And then it says when the separation is denied, then the sickness goes.
No, and I love that. That's why I said denied.
Yeah.
It says, because to deny means to choose to not know.
not me.
Okay, so I'm going to deny, I'm willing to not know my separation from you. So I'm not going to try to figure out the separation. I'm going to deny the separation. What does that mean? I'm not going to see you as different from me. I'm experiencing the result of my choices. You're experiencing the result of yours. You know, I'm either giving myself love or fear. You're either giving yourself love or fear. You know, I'm responsible for what I see. You're responsible for what you see. I'm choosing my feelings. You're choosing your feelings. So you know, we are the same. We're just using the same laws in different forms. But we're all the same. Everybody in here wants to be happy. The court says where we clash is on the way we've decided that should occur. And then we call that differences in morality and values. You know, I want to be happy, and I think that's going to mean doing this thing over here that you don't approve of. And so what we are clashing on is how we're going about it. But we all have the same purpose. We all want love. We all want happiness. But the problem is we get up in the morning, according to the course, he says we get up in the morning and then we decide how we're going to deceive ourselves again today. Now, what am I going to, this is the thing that's going to make me happy today, outside of me. This is my latest deception, right? And then when you meet people, and then when you see two people, then when two people see each other as the ones that's going to fulfill each other, they see that as a relationship made in heaven. You know, because I'm going to act out your script and you're going to act out mine. And so now we're totally, completely in bliss, and it never lasts. The Course says it's almost like a spinning top that seems to spin for a while, but eventually it goes. So that's our relationships. They start out like that. Oh, you're going to make me happy. I'm going to make you happy. You're going to make me happy. Baby, I'm going to do everything. I'm going to do everything. I'm going to please you. Everything. Well, what you want me to do? What? Blah. You know?
It's a form of collusion.
Yeah.
Eyes of love, go away.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Looking at it through the eyes a little, trying to get away
There
from
it
me.
is.
There it is.
Can you say more of that, how sacrifice is an attack?
Yeah, because if I'm sacrificing, I'm doing things out of a sense of resentment. And so if I'm doing something out of a sense of anger and resentment, it's an attack upon myself. Remember what I said earlier about those feelings being an attack upon yourself. You know, and I tell people all the time in my personal life that I only want you to do for me whatever you can do without any guilt or any sense of sacrifice. If you're fixing me dinner and you invite me over to dinner and you are doing that out of a sense of joy and love, fine. But at the point that it becomes a sacrifice, stop.
Yes.
I don't want you to do it 1 minute past sacrifice, because then you're going to start resentment. And you can see it's just simple to just tell somebody that. And I literally tell people that. When they want to do something for me, I say, is that really what you want to do? Because I believe I'm sustained by God. So I'm going to be all right in the way it goes. I don't think any one person determines what happens to me. So therefore, I don't have to lock anybody in my life into having to fulfill a need, because I know the universe will fulfill that need through whoever wants to fulfill it. So if I can let go of the form I think it should come in, I could have what I want today. Right? If you know what I'm saying. If I say, you got to kiss me, and you go, that's the last thing I want to do. I know you can't help it, but then if that was not something you wanted to do, and then I spent all my time trying to make you do it, then
You're missing
that's
all the
gonna
other kisses that are here.
that's what I'm saying. It could be everybody else is going, but I'm ready to kiss you. See, so the once you decide on the form of what you want, you could be delaying your receiving the content, which is what did I want, the love and the joining. Or if I said I wanted a relationship, but the universe knows who would meet that and also love me the way that I am. But that's not what happened. I went out last night and I saw you, and now I'm determined that you're going to give me that love. And you might not want to give me that love. So do I want love or do I want you? So, and what do I want you for? Well, I want you for love. So why don't I just cut you out of the whole process so that Spirit can send me who loves me? You see what I mean? So the Court says whatever it is you physically want, you want it because of what you think it's going to give you. So it's what you think that thing is going to give you that you have a right to ask for. Nothing's wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with me asking for love. Where I make the error is when I determine you're the one that's supposed to give it to me.
It does say also you should never go into a relationship expecting anything from it. You should only want to give to it.
Well, which is interesting, because I learned so much as a teacher and counselor, because most of the time when people are talking about their relationship, they're always talking about what they want the other person to do for them. It's seldom that I hear people say, I want a relationship for the sheer joy that I could give to the other person and all the things I could bring into their life to make them happier. It's usually what I want, how much money they need to make, what they need to look like, where they're going to take me. But it sounds like you're pretty shocked that you have actually drawn somebody who's just like you, which means they're thinking about them and what you should do for them, and they're telling you how you need to change. They are a three-dimensional mirror reflection of your own attitude. There's no such thing as being with somebody who's different from you. That's another illusion. They're really mean, but I'm not mean. Well, there's an area you got the exact same attitude they have. Now, all you got to do is look for it. You may not be doing it in the exact form they're doing it, but you're doing it. They got their script and they're mad at you about. Now, if you be honest, you got some things you got scripts about. So what y'all have in common is you both have scripts. You're the same, you know.
Okay, so I finally got to a place in my life where I'm most of the time 100% clear that my life is a creation. I'm responsible 100% for how I feel in my life. I am blown away by the ferocity of resistance that I'm getting to that sometimes. Like, I can go for like days and feel, and have a trigger, and go into anger or blame, and I know that's what I'm doing. And the resistance to get back to some peace is so strong that I don't understand it because the peace feels so good. And this anger and guilt feels so shitty that I don't get the resistance. I've been blown away by that. What is that? And does it
Well,
go away?
it's judging your own feelings. It's like I was telling somebody earlier, don't get angry about getting angry. In other words, allow yourself all of your feelings and then choose for peace. See, if I judge my feelings, they stick around longer. If I go, oh, Earl, that's just your ego again, feeling upset about something. Go ahead and feel what you feel. That's your call for love. You know, that's another way. All I need is another way to look at
I
it.
don't forgive you anymore. I take it back.
Right. And what's so cool about it is that it doesn't matter. See, what I'm learning after so many years is that it doesn't matter whether or not somebody else forgives me or not. It really doesn't matter. If you want to take 20 years, fine. Because I'm going to be patient. And the way I'm going to show you my patience about your forgiving me is I'm going to have as much fun as I possibly can every single day. That's how I'm going to be patient. I'm going to let my life be loving. I'm going to let my life be peaceful. And then when you're ready to meet me in a peaceful way, I'm willing to meet you in a peaceful way. So that's how you wait for somebody. You wait for them by still allowing, just like you're going to come to the realization. And also, it's a process. That's the other thing. You know, this is a process. So because I'm beginning to recognize that I'm responsible, readiness is not mastery. Because I'm beginning to recognize I'm responsible for how I feel, it doesn't mean that I'm going to have peace every day, all day. You are thinking that you're a human, and you think you're in a human body, and as a result, you're going to have emotions that go up and down and change and all those things. So when you tell yourself being spiritual means you're never angry and you're always peaceful no matter what, that's like a person going to a flight school and thinking just because they heard about flying a plane, they should be able to go out there and get in one and do a solo flight. You know, just because you say you're ready to be more loving, that doesn't mean that you've mastered it yet. So you got to be gentle with yourself. The Course in Miracles says the Holy Spirit wants a happy learner. And that's someone who's not crucifying themselves about making mistakes. So every time you get angry, that's just your call for love. Yeah, that's just you calling for love. That's just you requesting peace. So instead of me saying I'm angry, I'm saying, God, I got a deep call for peace right now. I got a deep call for peace right now. I got a deep call for peace right now. And that's really what it is. So the spiritual books I used to say, oh, I got a deep call for, I'm angry. You know, it's like, I got a deep call for peace right now. And that's okay too, because that's still the truth. The truth is that is what anger is. I want peace. I'm denying myself peace right now with you. But say it that way. I am denying myself with peace peace right now with you. and because you're still telling yourself the truth. It doesn't matter what the emotion is, whether it's anger or guilt or grievance. Telling yourself the truth doesn't always mean I have to go, I'm really doing this to myself. You know, it can be, God, I'm denying myself peace every time you walk in there. Go! Because that's what I'm doing. So now I'm using my emotion to reinforce the truth.
Yes.
So, because when you put feelings behind an idea, that's when it changes things.
Yes.
If you're just saying, oh, I'm just feeling angry. No. This is so what am I doing? I'm expressing my feeling. I'm not in repression, but I'm also telling myself the truth about it, which frees me and empowers me. So even though I'm angry, I'm being empowered. Why? Because I'm saying it's me choosing to deny myself peace right now. Because it's me that's giving what you are doing all the meaning that it has. So I'm the one that's making myself mad, not you. I'm the one that's making myself mad because I'm the one that's having this perception. And this perception is coming from me. The act is neutral. There are some people that would not get upset because the person came home an hour late. So that act is neutral. Or else everybody have to get mad at me because I came home an hour late. But see, if everybody's not getting mad about it, nobody has to get mad about it. See, in the truth, that's what they call the no exception rule. If there's one exception, it's not true. If everybody deserves love, and we say there's one person that doesn't, then the love we're talking about isn't true. What were you getting ready to say, Megan?
I was just gonna say that one thing like I like to tell myself too, as far as like taking accountability for things, is that I use people to hurt myself. So when you talk about like having the belief and then going out into the world and collecting evidence of it, I'm like, oh wait, I have this belief that I'm not enough, and I'm using my anger as evidence of that. Or I like to prove, my belief is that I'm not enough, so I keep attracting the person who's gonna tell me that I need to be different for them to be happy.
Exactly.
It's that fight inside of me between being responsible for myself and blaming another person. It is just like a mighty battle.
And I'll say I'm using that person to hurt myself.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The beauty of it is you don't have to worry about that battle. You know why? Because you are aware of it.
Yeah.
You were just simply saying, I'm choosing that. Or I know how I could be, but I still go through this. See, the fact that you recognize what the problem is means it's been solved. And so right now, you're just in the process of releasing it. And that's where the patience comes in. See, a pattern that still rules you is a pattern that you don't know you have. If you can tell me what your pattern is, your pattern doesn't have to rule you anymore. Even if right now, just out of habit and programming, it still pops up. All right, okay, I'm gonna do one more. I'm gonna bring it to a close.
Because I'm having the same experience.
Yeah.
What I have done for myself is just go, oh, I'm addicted to suffering. And this is my addiction. Because, I want to be peaceful, but if I am not conscious in the moment, then my ego mind will run off and perceive some attack or perceive something, which fortunately I've been studying the truth, so when I see that I'm attracted to something, I now can stop myself and go the other way, because I know that attraction is probably most likely my addiction to suffering.
And that's why the Course says recognize misery and then just go the other way. See, I love that line. Recognize misery and just go the other way. I'm walking along the hiking trail and a mountain lion shows up. I don't say let's process. I go the other way. But how did I get here? But we think that there's something wrong with us doing that. That it's not okay for you to recognize something that's misery in your life and just go the other way.
And if someone recognizes us as misery, let them go.
Right. And if they do recognize us as misery and then they go the other way, let them go.
Back to back.
Let them go. But when you don't love yourself and you're using them for punishment, then you're going to say, baby, please, come back, baby, give me another chance, baby, give me another chance. It's like if you've done everything in your heart that you know to do to bring about peace and communication and joining in a relationship, and that person is not willing to join you in that purpose and also take responsibility for the part that they play in it, and they're making everything dependent on you doing something different, that's you asking for punishment. Because you're convincing that person even more that their happiness depends on changing you. because you're giving in to that particular script. So you're actually telling them, yes, try to change me. That's the answer. You know,
Sacrifice.
so, you know, and if it's not truly what I feel that's authentic for me, it's different if I feel like, okay, I'm willing to make that shift because I can see how I want to, you know, but if I'm doing it and it's totally opposite to my grain, then that's sacrifice and that's resentment. And so that's what I wanted to complete on, is for us to recognize that that we should not use guilt to request punishment. And how do you do it? When I feel guilt, to tell myself that at least I can decide I don't like how I feel. And so I hope I'm wrong. I'm feeling guilty. I hope I'm wrong. I want another way to look at it. Perhaps there is another way to look at it. What can I lose by asking? Take that pause to ask for another way to look at it, and you'll find Spirit will give you another way to look at it. And you won't continue to go in that direction of punishing yourself. If you get a chance to go through this whole section, it's mind-boggling. It's really mind-boggling. I may continue at the next class. Next week, Anna is going to be doing my class. I'm going back to Memphis for the funeral. So she's going to cover for me. So send me light.
Yes.
Send me love. Yeah, I mean, you know, to have 5 people that I knew very well make the transition at the same time. I'm going to feel all my feelings. Being spiritual does not mean repress how I feel, meaning I'm being spiritual. I'm going to feel my feelings and tell myself the truth. And that's for the Holy Spirit to give me another way to look at it. That's how you do it, y'all. Don't take the truth to mean you got to pretend you don't feel what you feel. Because that's going to keep it around a lot longer. If I let myself feel it, it'll move through me. All feelings change if you don't stop to analyze them. It's like a conveyor belt. Here comes your fear and anger. And if you just watch it, like an odd processional, it would go. But that's not what we do. We see, here's my I don't like my mama. Grab it off the conveyor belt. What did my mama do? Do you remember all the things that she did? Well, I could have just let it go. All feelings change if you don't judge yourself for them. And just watch them. All right. Okay. So we're going to do the financial expression of appreciation. This class is on a donation basis. Thank you. I appreciate your sharing. Those of you who are watching online, I've been watching your comments. Y'all have been on it. You can go to my website, earlpurdy.com, P-U-R-D-Y. If you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation. Give yourself the opportunity to see Anna Kajawa. She's an incredible Course in Miracles teacher. If you haven't had a chance to experience her, she'll be doing my class next week for me. And those of you watching online, you can watch it by going to her, to Anna Kujawa, Kugawa on Facebook, because she usually live broadcasts when she's doing substitute teaching for me. So you can still watch her even if you weren't here. Okay. I do 3 Facebook Lives a week. I do one on Tuesday night on for some material called The Way of Mastery that I teach. And these are all on my Earl Purdy page on Facebook. Then Thursday nights I do what I call Hardcore Course in Miracles, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. And this is especially geared toward people who are studying the Course in Miracles and want to take advantage of my 40 years of obsession. Everybody's, of course, welcome to watch it, but it's like assuming that the people that are watching it are studying the Course. And so we go deeper in that way. And then, of course, Sunday, I do this one here where we do it on Facebook, and also do it live so that we have a chance to physically join with each other. So I appreciate you all coming out on Mother's Day. And because there's no point in doing it live in front of an audience if there isn't anybody. So I appreciate you all making it worthwhile, you know, because there's something about being together and joining together that's really a beautiful thing, and you're innocent. So what I'm going to do now, right quick, is I'm going to do a quick little recap, like take about a couple of minutes, and then we can rush out into our experience to make some more guilt. How about that? Okay. Hopefully innocence.
Yeah.
Hopefully innocence, all right? Here we go. Let's see here. Because it's all about repeating it, so I'm going to repeat the 2 paragraphs I just covered. So I want you to listen to this. This is A Course in Miracles. For healing to occur, once healing is possible, healing will occur. All sickness comes from separation. Say what? All sickness comes from separation. When separation is denied, the sickness goes. When the separation is denied, the separation goes. It is going to leave as soon as the idea that brought it has been healed. So what do you want to do? You want to replace insanity with sanity. You want to replace insanity with sanity. The Course is sanity. The ego is insanity. Guilt asks for punishment. Remember that when you feel guilty, you are saying to the universe, punish me, punish me, punish me, punish me. Remember, guilt is a request for punishment, and this request is granted. So you want to see your guilt as a request for innocence. You want to see your guilt as a denial of innocence. And you go, I'm feeling the denial of my innocence. I'm feeling the denial of my innocence. I'm feeling the denial of my innocence because of what I did last night. I'm feeling the denial of my innocence because of what I did last night. I am denying my innocence. I feel so guilty right now. So if you look at it that way, then you'll get a different reaction from the universe to your guilt. The universe will go, you're feeling guilty. That means you need to be reminded of your innocence. You need to be reminded of your innocence. I am innocent, innocent, innocent. I am innocent, innocent. Can we say that together? I am innocent, innocent, innocent. I am innocent, innocent, innocent. I am innocent, innocent, innocent. I am innocent. Now I'm going to say it to you. You are innocent, innocent, innocent. You are innocent, innocent, innocent. You are innocent, innocent, innocent. You are innocent. Now here's the real text. You are juicy and sweet. You are juicy and sweet. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. You are juicy and sweet and innocent. You are juicy and sweet and innocent. You are juicy and sweet and innocent. We are juicy and sweet and innocent. We are juicy and sweet and innocent. We are juicy and sweet and innocent right now. That's us, y'all. Thank you for showing up. Woo! Woo! My mighty companions on the line. So hugs are available. All right. Woo!
Quick announcement, if anyone's interested, I'm doing